Hey guys, it's Bobby from Mechanics Alliance. Just want to do another quick video today. This one on a topic that I know we all can relate to, and that's comebacks. And I know it's something that everybody dreads. You always think you did something wrong, but here's a few tips that will help you get to the bottom of what's causing the problem, whether it be something you did or something you didn't do. Um, And the first thing you want to do is when it comes back in is verify it's the same problem. The customer and the service advisor are going to see a check engine light on, or they're going to hear a noise, or they're going to suspect something because my car was just worked on and I paid to have it fixed and it's not fixed. So they're just going to say, "Oh, this like the customer's going to say, hey, my check engine light's back on." It could have absolutely nothing to do with what you did, and you have to know that going into it. Um, the service advisor will probably be irritated at you. Don't let that get to you. Don't let it influence what you're going to do next. Get the original repair order back. Make sure you go through it. Make sure what you wrote down, because this could be days, it could be weeks since you touched the car. You need to know what you did, and writing a good story is not only for people at the desk. It's not only for people, your warranty advisor. Um, it is for you as well, because in a couple of weeks you may not remember what you did, and that is entirely okay. You will have worked on multiple vehicles since then. Even if it's the same day, you could have worked on multiple vehicles, and maybe this is a car that you finished yesterday and just got picked up, barely made it out of the parking lot. But you road tested it, and it worked for you. Um, so when you get the car back in, take your time. Everyone's going to be telling you, hey, we got to get this car back to the customer, we got to get this car back to the customer. Well, maybe rushing is what got you into this in the first place, if it turns out to be the same problem. We have all kinds of deadlines placed on us to get things done. And sometimes that can cause you to overlook things. You're human. You make mistakes. We all do. Um, but go through it methodically. Recheck the part that you installed. But not only that, check the connectors. Make sure they're actually seated properly. If you had to unbolt anything, especially if it was a ground, make sure that that is tight. Make sure that the contacts are clean. Plenty of times I have seen grounds that work perfectly fine until you touch them. You unbolt them, you put them back, and suddenly they're not grounding as well as they were before, and it causes a problem. Also, verify that the part you put in is good. We're seeing a lot of this recently. A lot of aftermarket parts, you will put an alternator in a car and it will be dead within a couple of days. Same with starters. And the service advisor, they're going to get a car back on a tow truck. You're going to see your car come back on a tow truck. Crap, I worked on that. Don't let that get into your head. Don't get yourself behind the eight ball before you get in there and figure out, hey, this is nothing I did wrong. I put a new remanufactured alternator in this car and it's dead within 2 days. That's not your fault. Now, the customer's not going to understand that. The service advisor has to do their job to explain that to the customer. Hey, this wasn't on us. We're sorry. The part we got was bad. Make sure they understand that, because it will shake a customer's confidence in you if you give them their car back and a couple days later, hey, they're back for what they think is the same problem. It may not be. Which, that brings us into the ever since you customers, which, I could probably do an entire video on that. But let's just keep it concise in this video. You touch somebody's car and they come back and they say, hey, ever since you X, now my Y is not working. Well, they could be completely unrelated. The customer may not know that. Your service advisor may not know that. I mean, we can get into some ridiculous stuff like, hey, you just did my brakes and my windshield wipers don't work. Okay, those things are 99%, and I'm not going to say 100 because you just never know. They're not related. And what you did to those brakes is definitely not going to affect those windshield wipers. However, If you get someone who's like, hey, I just had this done, and now, like, I've got a whistling noise from the engine. Say you had to take the airbox out, and maybe when you put the boot back on, it got a little bit crimped and didn't seal properly. You know, that's a thing. It happens. But when you're dealing with those type of customers, and 99 times out of 100, they're instantly going to be looking for something free. They're going to be looking to blame somebody. If you can get the car in, go over what you did quickly, figure out, hey, oh yeah, I screwed up. Hang on, let me fix this for you. Then when it comes down to it, you can smooth it over. You can get the customer to understand, hey, either A, yes, we messed up in a bit and we'll take care of this for you. We're sorry this happened. Or you explain to them, hey, this is a part that failed. Not our fault. We can't do anything about it. You couldn't do anything about it. It's nothing you did. Make sure you can relay that to the customer that, hey, this isn't your fault. And go from there. But when you get these things, don't let the fact that it's a comeback get into your head. And don't start second guessing everything you did. Go back and start testing. Do the same tests you did before. You got to that conclusion by testing. Unless you went on Identifix and fired the parts cannon, which I don't recommend. So, go through your testing again. There could be a flaw in your testing. You could have missed something. You could have looked at a number and thought, hey, that number is acceptable in this case. And maybe it was borderline. Maybe that it just enough that it just occasionally causes an intermittent problem where you'll get maybe a signal dropping out a little too much. Or a voltage that's a little bit high or a little bit low. But when you looked at it, it was okay. These things can change. Especially if you disturbed a sensor. If you took it out to verify something, it's like, yeah, okay, I'm hook my scope up to this. It's a magneto sensor, so you waved a magnet in front of it and you could see it change. All right, cool. What you didn't know, there's a little bit of corrosion in the line somewhere, and when the engine gets hot, that's when it does this. Something like along those lines. So fall back onto your testing methods. Test again. See if you come up with the same result. If you come up with the same result, verify that part. Part verifies good. Okay, maybe you missed something. It's not unheard of. Maybe that's when you need to start looking for corrosion in connectors, or start doing the drag test on the line to see if you have a pin that's partially backing out. Things that you wouldn't necessarily look for on the first time through, because you say, okay, this part is bad. You have a car that has 150,000 miles, 200,000 miles on it. Yeah, you're looking at a part that, hey, I'm getting a code for this, or you're looking at it and you're like, okay, I can visibly see that this is messed up. That might not be the only problem, and when you go to fix that, you may build another problem into that system that you don't realize you did. Slow down, go through it methodically. Don't rush to condemn a part. Don't rush to say, oh, I messed up somewhere. You might have, but if you get it in your head that you screwed up, it really will kill your confidence. And that's a huge thing in this business. Hey, you may have to make a call on a PCM that costs the customer $1,500. If you start second guessing yourself every time you have to call something like that because you're unsure of your testing methods, well, you need to refine your testing methods. You need that foundation. Then you sell them that PCM and they come back for something else. Well, you can definitively say, all right, I did everything right. It's programmed. Everything's good. And then you go from there. Your car's going to come back with the engine light on. You're not going to know what it is. You're not going to know if it has anything related to do with what you did. Especially something like cooling systems. If you want to go into the mechanical part of this. How many times have you replaced a part of a cooling system on an old car, and 2 weeks later, some other part of the cooling system breaks, especially on ones that have lots of plastic connections, that you had to just tweak oh so slightly to get something and replace something else. All the customer's going to see is coolant on the ground. All the service advisor is going to hear is, my car overheated, you just replaced this. Don't start beating yourself up as soon as you see the car on the tow truck. Keep doing what you're doing, because as soon as you get out of your head, oh, I see that car just came back on the tow truck. Whatever car you're working on now is not getting your entire focus, and that's what it needs to be on. You will get to that car when you can get to that car. They will schedule it in. They may tell the customer, yeah, we'll have someone look right at it. You may be on a waiter. You might not be able to look right at it. Focus on what you're doing. Get the job at hand done. Then worry about what may or may not be wrong with that other car that you may or may not have caused. So, just a little bit of experience in dealing with this. So, just wanted to pass it on to you guys. And yeah, that's all I got for today. Have a good one.